we all have a baseline breathing habit that reflects our inner state and reflects the story of our lives. So moment to moment, our breath is reflecting what we're feeling, what we're thinking, but also it reflects the story of our whole lives from the moment that we took our very first breath. Becomes imprinted within the nervous system and therefore in our baseline breathing pattern. There was a fascinating study that was released quite recently, in fact, where it was demonstrated that we all have a unique breath print. So just as we have a unique fingerprint, we also have a unique breath print that is unique to us, which tells the story of our lives. We are able to shift that. We are designed to engage with the breath consciously so that we are able to create a new foundation for our inner lives and the way that we relate to the world. So what does functional breathing mean? It means breathing in a way that our bodies have been designed. Firstly, breathing most of the time through the nose. Now, of course, we need to breathe through the mouth in certain situations. But we are meant to be breathing through the nostrils. The nose has 30 functions that have been identified. 30. And when I was writing Umoya, the Art and Science of Conscious Breathing, and I was doing research around this, I was blown away by the really fascinating architecture of the nose and all the functions that are related to smell and memory, to the function of our immune system, to the way that the breath slows down the way that we're engaging. It brings down our resting respiratory rate. So many of us are unconsciously breathing through the mouth for many reasons. The shape of our face has changed over the last few hundred years because of diet and so many other factors. COVID did so much for our habitual breathing. So wearing masks for, I don't know how long it was, a year, 2 years, it kind of drove us to unconsciously breathing through the mouth. So when we breathe through the mouth, it's sending messages to the brain, to the body that we're in fight flight. And so it feeds the vicious cycle. So just training ourselves to breathe through the nostrils once again already starts to shift something. Another aspect of functional breathing is breathing with the diaphragm. Now, I think many people get confused between belly breathing and diaphragmatic breathing. And often you'll hear breathwork practitioners say, or yoga practitioners say, breathe into your belly. That is not a natural way to breathe. Breathing into the belly does not make sense anatomically. Our breath begins with the diaphragm, which is the big dome-shaped muscle, flattening and contracting. The rib cage expands. We breathe into the back. There's a 3-dimensional expansion of the breath. And we are simply exaggerating that when we breathe consciously. Yes. And that takes the pressure off the neck and the shoulder muscles. So when we can learn to breathe with the diaphragm again, that is the natural breath. So breath is less of a vertical movement, which actually puts a lot of strain on the body. It's more of a pulse. And then the whole body breathes. And that is the pattern of breath that we are seeking to return to, because that way of breathing is reflective of our most natural state of peace and freedom.
Yeah, that's really, I can feel the difference there. What happens when we start doing that? Like, I want you to explain what most people are doing. You've watched a lot of people breathing, what most of us are doing all the time, versus belly breathing. I'm curious to know what happens when you breathe into the belly, because honestly, when I do some of the breathwork practices and I do breathe into my belly, it feels a bit stressful.
Yes, exactly. Because we're only engaging one part of the diaphragm, the central part of the diaphragm, and it's almost there's a pushing of the belly up. It's not necessarily diaphragmatic breathing. We're engaging abdominal muscles there.
Wow.
And that's why it feels more stressful. So the first thing that I do with people who come to see me for any medical condition is to re-establish healthy diaphragmatic breathing. It's a game changer. When we do that, our nervous system naturally finds a balance, and we already are creating the environment to support the body's innate healing, whatever that looks like. We can't always know what the root causes are.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can, and we can address them. Sometimes it's so complex.
Thanks for listening today. I hope you found today's episode insightful and inspiring. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Subscribing helps a new podcast like ours immensely. And until next time, don't be a sheep, keep questioning, stay curious, and never stop exploring the extraordinary.